Hey everybody, welcome back to another fantastic episode of Ready to Die Fighting. I'm Chris, I'm getting bit by mosquitoes, and I am out here at the park, Nate's playing over there, and I want to set up my hammock, and I thought this would be a great time to go over some of the nuts that I've been making videos about, and kind of show how they are used in like real life application, and also, here's how you set up a hammock, or at least one way to do it. So, like and subscribe if you enjoy this stuff, and let's get to it. The first nut I'm going to do is, I think it's called a marlin spike. I think. I'm not so good at remembering the names, but it's a very easy one. I know I made a video on it. And, this is a fairly common trick, if you want to even call it a trick. Get some cordage of some sort. Adjust this a little bit. Tie a loop, and you just keep this in your backpack so it's nice and handy. And let me move it closer so you can better see what I'm doing here. Can you see that? My lovely shadow. And so what you want to do is take one of the sides, there's really not one, and you fold the bottom up onto itself like so, crossing it like a T there. Then fold that again in half and just pull this through. And this little gap that you have here, you just stick this guy in there. It could be any kind of stick that you have. In this case, I'm using a tent pole repair, I don't know, rod or whatever. It's just a hollow piece of, I think, aluminum. So in case your tent pole breaks while you're camping, you can use this to repair it, basically. And now you have a little handle to hang your backpack up with, which is really nice because that just makes it easier to use, especially if like the ground is wet and snowy and all that. It keeps things dry, helps keep some critters out of it, maybe, and also just makes it easier to get into. You don't have to kneel down on the ground to get into this thing. I've already made a video on the contents in this, so that's definitely not what this video is about. So let's open it up. And I am getting bit by mosquitoes a little bit, so let's do some little bug spray first before we go any further. Get some DEET out here. Okay. Now, alright, so in here I have my hammock. This is the Covacure hammock. I don't remember if it has a model number or anything. I got it on Amazon. I want to say $20, maybe $30. And it's pretty good. The quality is good. I like this hammock. I did have to change a couple things about it to fit my particular use case, but overall, it's really nice. I don't know what Nate's doing over there. You see him? Finding some sort of pole. All right, so taking the hammock out, and so hammocks typically come with some straps to hang the hammock from, which is good. You don't want to use paracord or anything small like this that could damage the tree. You don't want to do that. Straps are much, much better. However, the straps are pretty bulky and heavy. Even though I don't overly concern myself with weight, I do want to have enough room. I don't like bulk. So, especially considering the fact that I have a rope bag in here, it just seemed very redundant. So, instead of using the straps, I was like, let's just use what I already have. I already have these slings or the Dynaminus slings or whatever, but I got these from REI. You can use these to make harnesses and whatever else like that. You can use these to wrap around trees for rappelling, and other things. So they're super strong. It's a big loop. They're multi-use. The straps that come with most hammocks are fairly single-use, pretty singular in their use. Whereas this I can use for a bunch of different things. And it's much lighter, much smaller. And so that made sense to me. Then additionally, I have this all steel in here. It's not a ton, but again, very versatile rope. Extremely strong, super strong. But it's also very lightweight. It's thinner, lighter than paracord. And unlike paracord, it doesn't stretch. It doesn't stretch at all. If you were to hang your hammock with paracord, it wouldn't take long before you were sitting on the ground or laying on the ground. It stretches. It stretches a lot. It's supposed to. It's for parachutes. That's what it's supposed to do. This is not supposed to stretch, and it doesn't. I haven't given it the water test. I don't know if it holds water. Paracord does. It's like a sponge. I haven't tested this in that way, so I don't know. All right, so this is the type of cordage I'm using. One, this gives me a much more versatile and lighter kit than had I used the factory straps. And it also gives me an opportunity to work on some knot tying, which is always fun. So I'm just going to wrap these straps around here like that. I do have longer. This doesn't quite, what's this lighting doing? Weird stuff. This doesn't quite, oh, some weird stuff happening. It doesn't quite get all the way to the, oh my gosh. Yeah, let me see if I can maybe go like that. Does that look a little better? Hopefully we won't get all that weird stuff happening with the lighting. So yeah, it doesn't quite get to wrap around itself, which is what I would want. I do have longer straps, but I think that would be too long. But this I find is fine because the weight is going to be over here. It's not going to fall off. And I can just tie a mooring hitch, which is perfect because it's an easy to tie knot. I've done a video on that one as well. But yeah, it's easy to tie knot, and I'm actually going to go this way instead, I think. I try to tie knots in the same direction because it just makes it easier to me instead of trying to mirror things. And so it's very easy to tie knot. It's a strong knot. It's not the strongest in the world. I don't recommend it for climbing, but for a hammock, you're a foot off the ground, 10 feet off the ground. It's fine, and it's very easy to untie, which is the big part. So to tie this, you just make a loop like that. I did a video on this knot. I would recommend going and watching it if you don't already know how to tie this. If you've been following the channel and you've already learned it, good for you. You get a gold star. And that's it, right there. Putting some weight on it just to make sure it's not going to move, and it's fun. This all steel is very slick, so you do get a little bit of slippage with it occasionally. I'm going to adjust that a little bit more on the other one. On this particular knot in this spot, I haven't had a problem with it. It seems to hold just fine. Now, to connect to the actual hammock, come down here, look down here. This used to have like, it was just like some black webbing similar to the strap that I'm using here that they put in here to connect, I think, with the carabiner. And that's all fine and dandy if this is the only thing you're carrying, but that webbing was bigger and bulkier, that carabiner, bigger and bulkier. I already have some carabiners. I didn't want to be bothered with that. Instead, so I replaced it with some more of that all steel. And the knot that I use here is called a sheet bend. However, I had to modify it a little bit because, for one, I wanted it to be a quick release. I have done a video on this knot as well. But also because this is so slick, a regular sheet bend I found it just kept slipping. It just kept slipping out of this. I didn't have that problem with other types of cordage that I would use, but with this, just didn't work very well. So my workaround is just wrapping around like this, looping it in here. And then what I do is instead of tying the knot right here at this point, I loop back in here. And now I've got this kind of double, I don't know if it was like a lever effect or what, but for whatever reason, I don't understand the science or physics or whatever of it, but it just works. It just kind of redistributes that weight some kind of way where it doesn't have that pressure. So like the tension is more on here. Like I don't feel a whole lot in my hand. I feel it here. And so it doesn't slip anymore. So now I can tie this knot. And let's see if I can, I'm going to, like I said, I like to turn things the way that I'm used to tying them when possible, just so that I don't get confused. So there's so many cars. I mean, I'm in the city right now. It is what it is. And I get really distracted by them too. So it's very distracting to me. All right, so to make this sheet bend, we have a loop here, or a bite, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm coming up into that loop from behind. I'm just completely ignoring this. This is just my support line or whatever. I'm just pretending like that's not even there. And then I want to loop around the back. And if I didn't want this to be a quick release, I would just put the end through here. But I do want it to be a quick release. So I'm putting a bite through there so that I have something to tug to release this knot. Is a mosquito getting me? I think it is. Or at least trying to. And then just pull this tight. Pull everything nice and tight. Tight, 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 tight. And you can see here, I'm putting all of my weight onto this. And it is not, like I'm literally swinging on this thing. It's not coming loose. And when I want it to come apart, I just tug on this bad boy, and it's all going to come loose. I'm not going to do that because I don't feel like retying it. And then I just leave extra just in case. Just in case. All right, do the exact same thing on the other side, and then we'll be done. So there's the other side over there. I'm going to see if I can quickly do that. This tree over here, I think, is thicker, so I'm going to use the longer one. I try to get them at roughly the same height, as close as I can anyways. But the nice thing about using these quick release knots is it's very easy to adjust. Very easy. Come with me. Come with me. There we go. So, here we are. And once again, I'm tying getting my feet all tangled up. What's that thing called? Actually, I could do the sheet bend right here, actually. Doesn't really matter. It might be easier even in this particular case because I already have this loop here. And so that actually seems like the more natural thing to tie. This is really an easy knot, guys. Very easy to tie knot. And there we go. That's nice and strong. This is going to be... Wow. to get it, this is a weird little setup, but you know what? I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna see if this is gonna work. I'm gonna go like that. I'm gonna go like this. And I think that's just fine. Wrap around. Push it on through. There we go. This slid a little bit. Let's see what happens here. Let that sink in a little bit. Now, one of the other things that's nice about this particular hammock is hammocks have a tendency to kind of close down like that, right? Oh, you guys are crooked. Stand up straight, why don't you? There you go. However, with a couple of stakes, this hammock has these little clips. These little loops right built into the side, and this is shock cord, little bungee cord, so it stretches, which is this case you do want some stretch because you want the hammock to be able to kind of swing and sway and be comfortable and fun. And I just tied a little slip knot on here. There we go. Stick this in the ground. Excuse me. Got some. And I'm just gonna pull it out, stick it in the ground. Do the same thing on the other side. And there we go. Hammock is hung. This does have a mosquito net, but if you notice, it droops down. And I haven't really found a way. It seems like whatever pitch I hang it at, it seems like it's always drooped down, and there's not really opening at the ends for me to run a line. There's no clips. That's my complaint. The mosquito netting is there, but it lays on top of me, and I don't particularly find that comfortable or helpful. So now to test it out. Will it hold me? Will it hold me? This is always scary. Looks like it will. There you go. You're supposed to sit sideways in these things. That's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed. Hope it was helpful to you. Like and subscribe. Share with your friends. I'm going to hang out here for probably 5 minutes before he bugs me and tells me he's hungry. And we got to go eat. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.